I'm George Galloway, Member of Parliament and host of the comment programme on Press TV on Thursday nights. I'm answering questions at #AskGalloway, and I'll respond to the best of them every week. Citizen of Islam has asked the following question, and I quote, "You once supported the oppressed, and now you support the oppressor, Assad. What changed?" Well, the answer, Mr. Citizen, is this. It's not that I support Assad, it's that I oppose his enemies, a point to which I shall return. I said from the beginning of the events in Syria more than 3 years ago that the Syrian people had every right to rise up and overthrow their government, as indeed do any people have the right to overthrow any government, especially a government that is undemocratic, unelected, and relies on a security force, a police state, to stay in power. Any such people has the right to rise up. And if that had been what happened, then my position on Syria would have been very different. But nobody has the right to demand that I support British, American, Israeli, Saudi, and other Persian Gulf states' intervention in any Arab country. Nobody has the right to demand that I support my country bombing their country, or bombing, as it usually is, a third country. Nobody has that right. And nobody has the right to demand that I support the invasion of an Arab country by 100,000 or more foreign Takfiri fanatic fighters from all over the world who have nothing to do with Syria, who are not even Arabs, don't even speak Arabic. One day they're working in Primark in Portsmouth or serving curry in a Bengali restaurant in the East End of London, and the next minute they're the saviors of the Syrian people. Nobody has the right to demand that I should support any such thing. And any revolution that terrifies the life out of every religious and ethnic minority, terrifies the life out of 1/2 of the population, namely women, with their barbaric, antiquated, narrow, and frankly insupportable interpretation of Islam. Nobody has the right to demand that I should support such a revolution that destroys Christian places of worship, that destroys churches, destroys monasteries, destroys convents, tears apart the religious and ethnic historic fabric of the great Arab Republic of Syria. Nobody has the right to demand that of me. And when I see the so-called revolutionaries cutting off people's heads by the hundreds, cutting out their hearts and eating them, crucifying them, committing every unspeakable barbarity under the sun, nobody has the right to demand that I should support that. Now, I told Bashar al-Assad the day after the fall of Ben Ali, the Tunisian dictator, that he should call a free and fair democratic presidential election, and that if he did, he would almost certainly win it. And he would thus be the only elected president of any Arab country. The Syrian regime is a dictatorship. It's an authoritarian police state, just like virtually every other Arab country. It's ruled by a family, the Assad family, the father before, the son, and who knows, maybe his son after that. I don't support such rule. But that's the case in virtually every one of Britain and America's allies in the Arab world, as are these states brutal tyrannies, police states, authoritarian dictatorships. So I ask myself, what's the difference between the dictatorship in Syria and the dictatorship, say, in the United Arab Emirates or in Saudi Arabia, with whom we are best friends? And here's the difference. Syria is a dictatorship that opposes and confronts Israel. Syria is a dictatorship that for 20 years hosted the Palestinian resistance and gave them everything: money, weapons, training, ammunition, logistics, at a time when no other Arab country would do so. The Syrian dictatorship supports the Lebanese resistance led by Hezbollah, which delivered the only ever defeat of Israeli arms on a battlefield ever in the history of the settler state. None of the Arab countries that we're best friends with would dream of confronting Israel in this way, who sit silently while Palestine is bombarded and its people massacred monotonously on a regular basis. The Syrian dictatorship refuses to break its relations with the Islamic Republic of Iran, taking the view, as I do, that the Muslim countries need to stick together, not fight each other for the entertainment and the edification and the profit of others. So these are the reasons, the real reasons, why Syria is being targeted in this way. If you want to make a jihad, I could give you 10 better candidates deserving of a jihad than the dictatorship in Syria. I could give you many other crowned heads and presidents who have betrayed the Arab cause, betrayed the Palestinian cause far, far more gravely than the Syrian dictatorship has ever done. So I want a peace process, a negotiated, diplomatic transition to democratic rule in Syria. I'm for democracy everywhere. I'm for the Muslims killing each other nowhere. I'm for the Western occupiers coming back to occupy the Arab world nowhere. So that's the difference between you and me, Mr. Citizen of Islam. You're not you have no prerogative of virtue in this regard. You are not in first place to my second place in concern for democracy and freedom in the Arab world. But I'm consistent. I'm consistently against colonialism. I'm consistently against Zionism. And it's colonialism and Zionism that are targeting the Syrian regime. That's why I'm afraid I can't be with you. You can ask me a question, #AskGalloway. I'll deal with the best one every week.